Hello, my name is Ben Downs of Bryan Broadcasting, and I'll be your MC this afternoon. On behalf of those we serve, as well as the staff, volunteers, and board of directors of the Brazos Valley Food Bank, welcome to our third annual Mingle for Meals fundraiser, brought to you by Stylecraft. Stylecraft has been a major donor to the Brazos Valley Food Bank since our Food Bank's Because Hunger Won't Wait capital campaign. And let's face it, Stylecraft is a supporter of so many great causes in the Brazos Valley. To better understand why Stylecraft supports the Brazos Valley Food Bank specifically, though, here's Doug French.
At Stylecraft, we believe in building community. And one of the ways that we do that is by partnering and giving back to the communities that we build in. We love to partner up with third-party nonprofits. And top of that list is the Brazos Valley Food Bank. They are so impressive in the service that they provide our community. One of the ways you can judge a community is how they take care of the less fortunate in that community. And the Brazos Valley Food Bank does an excellent job. A few years back, Teresa gave me, my wife, and our two kiddos a tour of the facility that they have in Bryan. I left so impressed, not only with the food that they distribute, but also the services they provide their clients. They're not just meeting the physical need, but they're meeting their spiritual needs and also educational needs as well. And again, I just left with just this feeling that when we give the Brazos Valley Food Bank, that our resources, that our gifts are being truly, truly utilized well. Thank you again for allowing Stylecraft to partner with the Brazos Valley Food Bank. We are so excited for this year's Mingle for Meals. They do an excellent job, and we could not be more proud to have such a great partner in our community.
Thank you, Doug and Stylecraft, for backing the important work of the Brazos Valley Food Bank, including being the event sponsor for today's third annual Mingle for Meals. Because of COVID, this year's Mingle for Meals had to be virtual, but fortunately, the format of Mingle for Meals is ideal for our screens. Now here's what you can expect this afternoon. Today, you'll watch local influencers tell real stories from the Brazos Valley of triumph over hunger. There will be 9 3 to 5 minute talks delivered by 13 wonderful advocates highlighting the various programs that the food bank uses to fight local hunger. Each talk will highlight the story of a real person from the Brazos Valley that's been helped out by that program, because it's important to remember that behind the numbers are real faces, real people, maybe even people that you know. We hope that you're inspired to become a part of the good work happening with BVFB partners and with our programs. So, from your smartphone or from another window on your computer, visit bvfb.org/M4M, and that's the number 4. Scroll down to the program that you would like to support, click on the name of the speaker, and then the most important part, click on the donate button. Giving has never been this inspiring nor this easy. The Brazos Valley Food Bank has a goal of reaching $75,000 by the end of this online event. Now, $37,036 have already been raised. We need an additional $37,964 this hour. That means we really need you to step up, and we really need you to do your part. So let's begin. The issue is childhood hunger. The solution is the Backpack Program. This talk is sponsored by Kroger. Please welcome our Impact speakers, Maggie and Harper Cunningham. Harper and Maggie Cunningham are the co-founders of Books in a Blanket. It's a nonprofit that you probably know a lot about, but do you know it's given out over 120,000 books to children?
Hi, I'm Harper.
And I'm Maggie. Together, we started Books in a Blanket.
Running Books in a Blanket over these years has taught us many things.
For one, reading is very important to a growing mind. Without access to books, which is the case for a lot of students in the Brazos Valley, reading becomes an unfair challenge.
I remember when Maggie and I were in elementary school and we had to read 20 minutes per day. For some students, this is impossible. That's why we started our nonprofit in the first place, so as many students as possible could have books of their own.
Books in a Blanket has partnered with the Brazos Valley Food Bank for several years by adding books to the food-filled backpacks that are passed out to children at risk of hunger.
Like books, the students who receive the food-filled backpacks do not have access to nutritious food over the weekends, the holidays, summer breaks, and even now during the COVID pandemic.
Backpacks are truly a lifeline to nutrition for some students when they are not in school.
When the pandemic hit, schools had to close and students had to learn remotely at home, all children adjusting to the change.
At-home learning made it more difficult to ask teachers questions when students were confused. If the Wi-Fi was not working or you did not have internet services where you live, you cannot complete your school for the day. No matter the student's age, from elementary school to high school, COVID brought unexpected changes for everyone, including children.
For low-income families, children lost access to school meals and normal backpack distributions. This was very concerning for families and their kids, who are often very aware of the stressors that the families face.
Schools substituted cafeteria meals with grab-and-go food and tried to distribute backpacks then, but not all families could get to the schools during those times. Others worried about COVID if they left their houses.
To increase access to food for these students, and keeping safety very much in mind, the food bank worked with school districts to modify ways to get food to children.
As a result, backpacks were delivered in bulk to the school districts.
With the help of the Brazos Valley Food Bank, the school districts held backpack pickups, drive-through events, and even delivered 4 to 6 weeks worth of backpacks to kids to reach as many children as possible.
Sarah, a counselor at Neal Elementary School, says of the students in their backpack program, whether they eat or don't depends on the bag. A lot of times, the backpack is their saving grace. Without the bags, they would be going home with nothing. Each bag or backpack has 2 days of meals and snacks.
Having enough funding to operate the backpack program in different ways throughout the pandemic and in a reduced form over breaks and the summer months depends on caring community members like you donating.
Sponsoring a backpack is just $6.
Just $6, and you will impact a child in the Brazos Valley.
When asked about what she would want potential donors to know about the backpack program, Sarah says, "I'd want you to know the profound difference you're making in these kids' lives. You are saving their lives. Some don't know where their next meal is coming from, but they have this bag."
In the words of real backpack recipients, a 10-year-old student says, "It makes me so happy and thankful." One 9-year-old student said that the backpack with food makes me feel like someone cares about me.
Finally, one little boy who is 7 years old says that he shares his bag with his siblings and that the backpacks make him feel happy.
Help us make as many children as possible feel happy, feel fed, feel cared about by supporting the Brazos Valley Food Bank's backpack program.
Children in the Brazos Valley are counting on you.
Thank you, Maggie and Harper. It's clear that these backpacks make a positive impact on the lives of children who receive them. Did you know that the backpacks delivered into the hands of a hungry child cost $6.45? That's all. And it includes all the costs, that of the food, up to 14 items of low preparation, pop-top canned food, the staff time to coordinate with the schools and volunteers, and the actual deliveries made to the school. That means a donation of $200 can provide 31 food-filled backpacks for elementary school-aged children. So please donate now. All donation amounts are welcome, and they're all very helpful. From your smartphone or from another window on your computer, you can visit bvfb.org/M4M. Scroll down to the program you want to support, click on the name of the speaker, and as I said, the most important part is to click the donate button. The issue is adolescent hunger. The solution is school-based food pantries. This talk is being sponsored by HEB. Welcome to the next Impact speakers, Frito and Katy. Frito and Katy host Morning Candy on Candy 95. In addition to several national awards, the pair have received 13 local awards for Best Radio Show. And plus they have a really great general manager as well.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're Frito and Katy, and thank you for joining us this year for a virtual version of Mingle for Meals.
Not so much mingling.
Mingling is like the last thing they're letting us do, but we're very excited about the meals part, and we hope you guys are too. We're here to talk to you about teens, and obviously a lot of you guys have firsthand knowledge of dealing with teenagers. Maybe you have a teen, maybe you work with a teen, but they're more observant than we give them credit for. And if you do have a teenager or work with them in any capacity, you know that it's pretty impossible to get anything past them. They just pick up on everything. In fact, most of the time teens notice more than we do as adults.
They worry too, a lot, about everything. From what clothes they're wearing to, I don't know, how many likes their last TikTok video got. They're extremely sensitive to the judgment of their peers. Now, according to a recent study, 81% of students have said that the pandemic has made those mental health problems worse. And COVID-19 robbed teens of a lot of significant rites of passage, things that we probably take for granted. Graduations, dances, summer jobs, trips, and celebrations. Losing those routines, losing those life events, it caused an increase in anxiety, loneliness, and isolation for a lot of kids.
Now imagine being a teenager with these same age-related problems, but instead of worrying about not seeing your friends enough, you're worrying about things like, where is my next meal coming from? Or will my brother have enough to eat tonight when we go home? And I think that's a real concern, and it's a provable concern right now. And here's why. The level of hunger across the United States has almost tripled between 2019 and August 2020. Those are real stats. They come from data from the Census Bureau and also the Department of Agriculture. If that doesn't terrify you, more alarming is the amount of American kids who are dealing with food-related anxiety. Right now, American kids who sometimes do not have enough to eat, that number is as much as 14 times higher than it was a year ago.
Now let me really blow your mind, because that's kids. That's kids across the board. But teens go without food twice as often as their younger brothers or sisters. So parents will first opt to forego meals themselves, but then they gotta decide between their kids. In many households, if you have toddlers and younger children, those nutritional needs will be seen as more urgent. So it's the teens that are going without. It's the teens that aren't getting enough.
These teens are being saddled with the weight of adult responsibilities. They're trying to hide their own hunger and need from their peers because of stigma, while at the same time trying to strategize on how to help their family. One of the big ways they do this is, how can I make the food that I can get access to last longer? So you see teens doing things like saving school lunches, dropping them in backpacks so they can take them home on the weekend to feed their siblings. They're working as hard as they can to provide for themselves and also provide for others. They want to get jobs in many cases, but often, as many of you guys know, they're too young, and even if they're not, jobs are incredibly scarce right now. They don't have attractive schedules employers would be looking for either because of school or extracurricular commitments. So what are you supposed to do? How do we expect them to be able to go through a school day and succeed without the proper nourishment?
Yeah, when a teen's basic needs aren't met, they're not themselves. They're coming to class malnourished. They don't have a fueled body, they don't have a fueled brain, and then somehow we expect them to succeed in spite of that? This should make you sad. This should make you angry. Most resources and research go to children far younger. We're doing our teens a massive disservice across the nation. But here locally, there's a solution available right now.
School pantries allow students a way to help families put food on the table. And these are managed by community members who deeply care about their students. And even during this year, despite ISD closures in the spring, they continued to fulfill their mission by serving these kids through grab-and-go meals during coursework pickup days. And it's easy to help. For every $100 donated, $100, the Brazos Valley Food Bank can supply 33 meals via a school pantry. That's just $3 a meal.
One of these dedicated teachers, Laura Mendez, she's the school pantry coordinator at Pecan Trails Intermediate. She knows that if they didn't have the pantry, there would be a lot of families and students hurting. That's the thing about our school. You don't think there's a need, she says. Lester is one of her students, and he visits the school pantry on a regular basis, trying to pick up nutritious, non-perishable food items to take home. He's got 7 siblings, if you can believe that, and he likes when the pantry is stocked with granola bars, because granola bars are his favorite snack.
Now, here's where you can help. By supporting the school pantry program tonight, you are helping close the gap so there is less worry and less stress for students in need. Some of you have not been touched financially by COVID-19. Some of you have honestly had a pretty decent year in 2020. If that is you tonight, please give generously and help stand up for these kids all across the Brazos Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Frito and Katy, for highlighting the need that some teens right here in the Brazos Valley face. I know that it's hard to believe, but the Brazos Valley Food Bank can take a donation of $1.25 and secure a pound of food appropriate for a school pantry. Granola bars, oatmeal, ready-to-eat items even, and personal care items like razors and deodorant. Seriously, a donation of $125 secures 100 pounds of food for a local school-based food pantry. Now, how cost-effective is that? It's so cost-effective, you should give right now. The next issue is senior hunger. The solution is the Senior Outreach Program. This is the second talk being sponsored by Kroger. We bet you'll recognize the voice of the next speaker, Dave South. Every Saturday from 1970 to 2017, football fans around the world have been accustomed to hearing Dave South as one of the voices of the Southwest Conference, the Big 12, and Southeast Conference football. For all those years, this voice has always meant I've found the radio station that has the Aggie game on the radio.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Dave South. Perhaps you'll remember me from my days of doing play-by-play for Texas Aggie football, basketball, and baseball, of which baseball was the last sport that I did, and that came to an end in March of 2020. Did my very last game. When we started thinking about retirement, my wife and I, my wife retired before I did, we made a point to promise each other that we would have an active retirement, that we were going to volunteer in as many areas as possible, which included our church, included our Lions Club, and included the Bridge Ministry, also included Meals on Wheels. And I'm here today to visit with you about the Brazos Valley Food Bank. Implemented a special program called Senior Outreach. The Senior Outreach Program, or if you want to say it, SOP, a service that provides home-delivered meal programs with supplemental nutrients, low preparation groceries delivered to low-income visitation clients to tide them over for the weekends when hot meals are not delivered. Now let me tell you about the hot meals that we deliver. They're a little bit bigger than perhaps you would like to get on a menu at a restaurant as a child's menu. And when you get to thinking about the fact that they're going to cut that meal in half to save part of it on Friday into the weekend, that's not very much food. That's the reason that this program is so important. Other stories related to difficult choices used fixed income dollars, by the way, to purchase life-saving medicine or utilities, food or medicine. With home-delivered meals and senior bags, food is taken care of so that limited dollars can be spent on both medicines and utilities. Let me tell you a little bit about some of the people that I call on and that we deliver our meals to. I've met some of the most humble, outgoing, friendly people that I've ever met in my life. And it covers all ethnicities, Black, Hispanic, white. And you can see the deep appreciation in their eyes when you knock on the door, they come to the door and you hand them that hot meal. I had this one particular lady that I just absolutely love, and we've developed a great relationship. But what I try to do occasionally is to give her an extra banana. The banana, by the way, is the dessert. And when I've taken her 2 or 3 extra bananas, you would think that I had given her $1 million. That's how happy she was. There are 28,000 seniors in the Brazos Valley, with 10.5% of the seniors in Texas being food insecure. In recent years, there's been a widening of the gap between food insecurity rates in seniors, with non-metro areas being higher than seniors in metro areas. In strong economic times like 2018, there is not progress against food insecurity. Then this does not bode well for enormous shocks, economic shocks, such as the current coronavirus that we're dealing with. Brazos Valley Food Bank's Senior Bag Program gets supplemental bags of nutritional, low preparation foods into the household of low-income seniors who may not be going without, who may be going without. Let me talk a little bit about a lady named Anita Reyes. She worked while her kids were in school, mostly cleaning houses. Then she went to nursing school and was a certified medical assistant while she and her husband lived in Florida. Eventually, they moved back to the Bryan area where she took a job at the Carriage Inn. Santana, her husband, worked in heavy equipment and trucking jobs. Santana died 15 years ago. This year, they would have been married 53 years. Anita is 75 years old now and has been living at the LULAC for a couple of years. She lives on a fixed income, so her money tends to run out at the end of the month. And that's why this program is so important. In 2007, they started this. The Brazos Valley Food Bank implemented the Senior Outreach Program. Again, we hope that you'll consider taking part in the Senior Outreach Program sponsored by the Brazos Valley Food Bank. It's been in progress since 2007. Thank you for viewing this video. I'm Dave South. So long, everybody.
Dave, we appreciate all that you've had to say. No senior in the Brazos Valley should have to choose between food or medicine. And with the COVID pandemic, no senior should have to worry about eating because he or she is at a high risk. Senior bags are a great solution. Each senior bag is $7.35. That includes the cost of the food. The food is nutritionally appropriate for someone with hypertension and/or diabetes, two chronic conditions that many seniors in the Brazos Valley face. So that means low salt and low sugar and items that are easy to prepare, like Ensure. These items run a little bit higher for the Brazos Valley Food Bank to secure. It also includes the bag the food is put in, the staff time for coordination and assembly of the bags, and the delivery time and costs. Right now, bags are delivered to other senior serving organizations and not directly to the seniors. So who doesn't want to see every senior fed? So give now. Our next issue is limited access to healthy food. The solution is free produce distribution. This is the second talk being sponsored by HEB. The next Impact speaker is Chef Tai Lee. Chef Tai is A&M class of 2002. He owns and operates 5 gourmet eateries in Bryan College Station: Salt Restaurant, Madden's Casual Gourmet, Paulo's Italian Kitchen, Chef Tai's Mobile Bistro, and Urban Table Restaurant. Since starting his business in 2007, Chef Tai has established himself as one of the most prominent players on the Bryan College Station culinary stage with his renowned culinary skills.
Howdy, my name is Chef Tai of Brazos Valley. I have several restaurants in Bryan College Station area, namely Salt, Urban Table, Madden's, Paulo's Italian Kitchen, and also Chef Tai's Mobile Bistro. I just wanted to share these thoughts that healthy food is what makes us healthy. And food is what makes us go, it's the fuel. And what we eat makes us who we are. And having this amazing healthy food consumption will make you healthy. So with that being said, I just wanted to share some points here. Individuals in the Brazos Valley who face hunger oftentimes do not have access to fresh produce. And fresh produce is really the key to giving a healthy body and mind. Produce is more expensive and has a very short shelf life. As a chef, I know it is a true story and it is a constant challenge on our side as well. It is harder for individuals and families with a limited income to justify spending their limited dollars onto a fresh produce that is highly volatile and goes bad really fast. So instead, they depend on an inexpensive food that is filling and has a shelf-stable life that will last longer and end up being items purchased. And these are often high in salt and sugar. And looking back at my childhood when I was living in Korea, as Korea was just a developing nation, and our family was just a blue-collar family, and we were always short on dollars. And I just remember we always had to eat something out of the box or canned goods from the local rations and things like that. And having a fresh produce or even a fruit that was a luxury item. And I really, crave these fresh produce and things like that when I was a kid, but I never got a chance to do it. And it actually, caused some of the allergy issues and skin conditions that when I was a kid, I had to suffer through. And unfortunately, it is happening still to this day here in America. And before helping someone else, I really want you to think about how we can help our local families and friends, our neighbors. Without eating a good, healthy food, it can lead to chronic health, health conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. But with your help, we can do some changes to it. The Brazos Valley Food Bank can get produce in bulk for an average of 10 cents per pound through the help of local co-ops and the Texas Department of Agriculture. I mean, that is amazing price. That's something that I can even get, at a wholesale price. So if you have a dime, you can help us save and distribute a pound of a fresh produce to someone in need here in Brazos Valley. People like Virginia and Luis depends on healthy food from food bank in the aftermath of a COVID. Luis and Virginia is husband and a wife and has had trouble getting food to eat, especially the healthy food, such as fresh produce, since the COVID pandemic hit, because Luis is really having a hard time finding a job right now and has been going week to week without pays. So, with Virginia having a health issue, getting a fresh, healthy food is very important, especially the vegetable. And the Brazos Valley Food Bank has been there to help her getting these fresh vegetables. She knows it's going to be a tough winter and a tough holiday season, as they're all going to be struggling for pennies and dollars and things like that. But she does take some comfort that she can depend on Brazos Valley Food Bank to help her eat and live. So, I just want to reach out to you and say, hey, let's make a difference. Your one dime can make a difference for people like Luis and Virginia. Brazos Valley Food Bank has increased its fresh produce holding capacity by 5 times since its new current location in 2017. So your support can certainly make the difference for many people here in Brazos Valley. So make the donation today. Thank you.
Chef, we really appreciate you bringing in your personal story for this talk. Lack of access to food is a real thing, and access to the right foods is even more difficult. Fresh food, while the healthiest, is the most expensive and doesn't last very long. For all our neighbors to benefit from healthy food, free produce distribution must happen, and the Brazos Valley Food Bank does them weekly. Here's the most amazing point. On average, the Brazos Valley Food Bank gets 1 pound of fresh produce for every 9 cents. Can you believe that $100 can help the food bank distribute 1,111 pounds of fruits and vegetables? We're going to talk now about rural hunger. The solution is mobile food pantries. This talk is sponsored by a generous anonymous donor. Mel and Roger, our next speakers, have a lot to say about the Brazos Valley Food Bank's mobile food pantries. Roger Garrett has been a part of KORA since 1986. Since then, Roger's kept your mornings moving with his version of the local news and his love for playing games. He also helped the Brazos Valley Food Bank distribute fresh food in Calvert for years. Mel is a hometown country-ish girl from Belton, and she's a fightin' Texas Aggie from the class of 2012.
Hey, it's Roger and Mel from the Roger Morning Show at 98.3 KORA, and Mel and I are here to talk today about the Brazos Valley Food Bank. In fact, Mel has something right now.
That's right. In the Brazos Valley, all of the counties are actually considered rural except for Brazos. So that includes Burleson, Grimes, Madison, Robertson, and Washington counties. The one fantastic thing about all these rural communities is the people. They're civic-minded, they're willing to volunteer, and ready to help. And my good buddy over here, Roger, has actually been at the forefront of that for a long time.
It was a few years ago that I did a mobile produce pantry up in Robertson County, a little small town called Calvert. And it was quite an amazing experience for me, because when you hear the words mobile produce pantry, you don't really get the whole picture. The first thing that happens is you're bringing mostly produce, and I found out that this food was donated to the Brazos Valley Food Bank. It is some of the freshest produce you would ever find in a grocery store, so it is top quality food. But they also give more. That sometimes they give cakes and cookies as desserts. It's not always part of the pantry, but sometimes it is. Sometimes there will be big sacks of potatoes. Sometimes we would have soft drinks. At Christmas time, for some reason, we always got these hams that are brightly in the red aluminum wrap that we could give away as well. The people who are receiving the food on the other end is what I really want to talk to you about. We were in a field in front of the senior center in Calvert, Texas, and people would start lining up for the food at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, I didn't even get there till about 10:30 because I'm doing the radio show. And by 10:45, we were ready to go. What that meant was between 8 and 10 o'clock, volunteers, people who came out of that line that were willing to help us, would go inside the senior center and get these very big, heavy folding tables, bring them out, set them up in the field. When the truck arrived from the food bank, it would drop all the food that we would be handing out on pallets. And we would break all of that open and set it up on those tables. So by 10:45, all of these people who had been standing there, we often had 100, 120 people waiting in line, could then come through and get the food that they came for. And who you saw in that line, the eyes, the people who love you because you came there and brought that. In the beginning, a little standoffish, but as you do it, the first and third Thursday is what we did of every month, you develop a relationship with people who will give you more than you give to them. You'd see grandmothers with little children holding them by the hand because they're raising these children. A lot of them are on the SNAP program, and you may not know this about SNAP, but that 30-day supply of food is really only enough for about 2.5 weeks for the person who has the card. That means the last part of the month, the grandmother is going without food so that she can feed her grandchildren unless we do something like a mobile produce pantry. So after a while, we all kind of got to know each other. We would celebrate birthdays together. We would laugh together. Sometimes we'd say a prayer together if someone asked for that. And it turns out to be the most beautiful experience that you can imagine. I really recommend that you volunteer at a produce mobile pantry to see what it's all about. And if you can help this happen in a community near you, you'll never regret it.
Logistically, mobile food pantries are perfect in a pandemic. They can still operate and get things done. With that being said, this is one of the special programs that needs your help with the Brazos Valley Food Bank. So donate today so that you can make a difference.
Thank you, Mel and Roger, for helping us understand the barriers that rural communities face getting enough food and the right foods. The mobile food pantry model really seems to be a perfect fit for underserved communities in the Brazos Valley, and it was a natural fit for safe distribution when the pandemic hit. Containing up to 40 different food items, mobile food pantry boxes cost around $20 each. This includes all of the food, but a lot of staff time, since a paid driver stays with each mobile pantry because fresh and frozen items need to stay on the truck for food safety purposes. A donation of $250 can ensure that between 12 and 13 rural residents get a 3 to 4 day supply of well-balanced, nutritious food. Wouldn't that feel good to make happen? So now let's talk about the issue of solving hunger for tomorrow. A solution is the Benefits Assistance Program. This talk is sponsored by John and Emma Larch. Our next speaker is Kelly Bond-White. Kelly Bond-White is in her 18th season with the Texas A&M women's basketball team and has served as associate head coach since the 2007 and 8 season. Her recruiting ties have been key for Texas A&M, and her contributions on the court have also developed the best guard corps in the league.
If I had to tell you about Aggie values in one sentence, I would simply ask the question, how can I be of service? I'm Kelly Bond-White. I'm entering my 18th year down here in Aggie land as associate head coach at Texas A&M women's basketball. It's been my greatest privilege to serve our student athletes, the university, Bryan College Station, and organizations like Brazos Valley Food Bank. I open with a quote from a current student. Without question, my favorite core value is selfless service. At some point in our life, we will all need a hand up. As a coach, one of our main jobs is to help create access to opportunity for our young ladies and men. The Brazos Valley Food Bank's Benefits Assistant Team does a similar job. Affectionately called BAPS, members are trained to help people fight hunger and understand which community-based programs and services they are eligible for. Just like the repetition of watching film to avoid a costly mistake on defense, BAPS team's workers are there with one-on-one instruction to make sure barriers are minimized and the application process is an efficient one. Now, the Brazos Valley Food Bank has been ahead of the curve since the beginning, offering referrals. They understand if you are hungry and qualify for services like food stamps, also known as SNAP, there may be other community resources needed as well. This holistic approach of referrals addressing the whole instead of just part is now required to do this type of contract work. Referrals are all about networking. Here in Aggieland, we pride ourselves on having one of the largest associations of former students in the country. Right about 430,000 active members are in our Aggie network. The network is set up to serve past, current, and future Aggies. So when Gina was worried about losing her house, she reached out to Cheryl Butler, a program coordinator in the benefits program, and simply asked, is there anyone out there that can help me pay my mortgage? Cheryl knew exactly who to call. She reached out to Tim at the Brazos Valley Food Bank, who is a referral specialist. Tim put in a call. He found a company that worked for Gina. They called her mortgage company and were able to help Gina make smaller payments. At some point in our life, we will all need a hand up, be it a referral specialist like Tim or a program director like Cheryl. They were there to get Gina the information and connections she needed, so she could remain in the loving home where she not only provides for herself, but she also provides for her 26-year-old autistic daughter, Shelby, and Shelby's 29-year-old special needs friend, Amy. While Shelby is in day school, Gina is working 2 jobs, one in resale and one cleaning homes. When COVID hit, both those industries were hit hard, as were Gina's work opportunities. Like many of us during this time, Gina's grocery bill was the biggest bill. She had applied for SNAP, but was denied, not because she didn't qualify, just due to confusing questions. Tim and Cheryl were here this time around to help her navigate the system more efficiently. Her application was approved, and she now has SNAP benefits. While not as large as the Aggie Network, the Benefit Assistance Program within the Brazos Valley Food Bank came through just as strong. We are not what happens to us. We talk to our players all the time about the equation E plus R equals O. No, we're not scientists or mathematicians. We took that from Urban Meyer, former Ohio State football coach, in his book, Above the Line. We can't control the E's. What are the E's? They're the events, a pandemic, decreased work hours, a spouse's hours are cut due to COVID and you struggle to pay the mortgage. We don't even have true control of the O's. What are the O's? The outcomes of those events. What we do control are the R's. Those are our responses. Sure, when life hits us with uncertainty, we may have a moment, but then we take action. Gina's response was to reach out for help. Tim and Cheryl's response was utilizing their expertise to find the right people to help. The Brazos Valley Food Bank responds by wrapping itself around the family before needs become insurmountable. Back to that equation. Gina said, I know the reward is not only for the person that gets help, but the one that gives it. E plus R equals O. It's our time to respond. Let's click the link and give. Gig 'em.
Kelly certainly has a way of making us part of the team, doesn't she? As a coach, she knows how important mentoring and empowering is for her athletes. Knowing that a program like the Brazos Valley Food Bank's Benefits Assistance Program can do the same thing for others who are struggling with hunger and even other needs, it's a real safety net for our neighbors in a time of trouble. But for the program to continue and even expand, funding is vital. Our next issue is solving hunger for tomorrow. A solution is the Food Insecurity Screen and Intervene program known as S&I. This talk is sponsored by Citibank. Our next speaker should be a familiar face to everyone. Dr. Seth Sullivan serves as the Brazos County Alternate Health Authority. He's married to Allison, a Texas A&M graduate class of 2000. They have 5 children and have lived in the Brazos Valley since 2011.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Seth Sullivan. I'm the Alternate Health Authority of the Brazos County Health District. Since March, fighting COVID-19 with a formidable team, I've been able to firsthand witness the collaboration of this community coming together against an invisible enemy of COVID-19. To see the community's response, to see all of those coming together in such an impressive way, and to see us be able to overcome. We have work to do, clearly. The enemy is still there, but we are reminded as we come together that there's other enemies among us. One in particular of hunger is also invisible. Hunger affects many of our patients, many of the patients I see, and it becomes clear that those who struggle with hunger have other comorbidities often as well: diabetes, hypertension, heart disease. And hunger or access to healthy foods complicates the ability of the patient to get better under treatment plans. So it can become a struggle to know which patients struggle with hunger, which patients have difficulty accessing foods or healthy foods. The Brazos Valley Food Bank has put together a screen and intervene program. Asks 2 key questions to ask: are patients having difficulty affording food? Do they worry about being able to afford food, or has it actually happened? Those 2 questions. If patients answer positively on either of those 2 questions, they are immediately given food as a bridge to help with them or with their families. But very importantly, they are then referred on to more preventive programs. One, Texas Making Moves with Diabetes, or the MMWD program, is one such program that meets monthly, and at the very outset of the meeting takes baseline inventory, including labs, a hemoglobin A1C, which is a long-term sugar number to assess the control of the patient's diabetes, and other measures such as blood pressure, etc. And over the time that the patient is there, the patient's educated and provided recipes and shown how to eat healthily, especially with diabetes. We know how important diet is in control of diabetes, even with medications such as insulin and other diabetes medications. Diet is essential for control of diabetes and to affect all of the devastating complications from diabetes. One particular patient who has benefited from this, we'll call her Jane, has been absolutely singing the praises of the MMWD program, and for all of you who helped make it happen. She entered the program shortly after COVID-19 hit. She continued to work, but the COVID-19 affected the hours that she was able to work, and therefore affected those 2 questions: her worry about her access to foods and indeed her ability to access foods and healthy foods. She had already screened positive and was enrolled in the MMWD program. She sung its praises with respect to what she learned, the recipes that she received, and her ability to take control of diabetes, thanks to your generous support. She was asked, what would you say to those who are considering enrolling in an MMWD program or who would need it? She says, it will work. And when asked if she had any message in particular to those who have helped make it happen, she said, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have helped make my life better. So on behalf of Jane and all of those in the Brazos Valley who need your support and are counting on your support, I thank you as a health authority here who understands the importance of what you're doing in the everyday lives of my patients and all the patients in the Brazos Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sullivan, for explaining what is really a brilliant concept. Screen for hunger, connect those in need with food. Where the complexity can come in, though, is when a patient has a chronic condition that food heavily impacts. If a patient does not have access to the right foods, they can't consume the right foods and their condition does not get better. Helping connect patients with the right food is the right solution. S&I food is a little more expensive. To be appropriate for patients with diabetes and/or hypertension, those are issues that are very prevalent in the Brazos Valley, food must be no or low sugar, no or low salt, and no white rice or white bread. But for the program to continue and even expand, funding is vital. A donation of $300 can fill between 11 and 12 prescription-appropriate S&I boxes. The issue we're talking about now is solving hunger for tomorrow. A solution is the Together We Grow program. This talk is sponsored by American Momentum Bank. These next two speakers really don't need an introduction because they introduce themselves to you every day. Kathleen Whitty and Josh Ninke are anchors with KBTX TV.
Hello, I'm Kathleen Ninke.
And I'm Josh Ninke.
And every single day, 4:30 to 7 a.m., we sit here together and anchor the news on KBTX.
And we got the same job with the same responsibilities, the same goals.
But we have different barriers to success. For example, something I'm always working on is that I get really distracted during the show. I gotta focus better, and I hate sitting still.
And I could get in a little bit earlier. She beats me here by about 20 minutes each day.
So even though we have the exact same role, same goals, same responsibilities, same measurements of success, we have different paths to success because we're just different people.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea behind Together We Grow at the Brazos Valley Food Bank.
Together We Grow is a 5-week on-site training program. So it teaches those foundational soft skills, but it also provides one-on-one personalized coaching.
Because each Together We Grow participant deserves that individualized approach. And we're talking financial training, mock job interviews, healthy cooking tips, and so much more included in this personalized case management.
But the whole group does come together. They have social support groups, and also Together We Grow has a double meaning.
Yeah, each cohort runs the Brazos Valley Food Bank's vegetable garden, so together they literally grow. The participants manage and train volunteers on garden maintenance, and then here's the great part, they get to take those harvested crops home.
Last year, that was 550 pounds of produce, which is my kind of shopping trip. So the whole idea of Together We Grow is to help participants never have to visit, never even have to think about going to a food pantry ever again.
Yeah, so far there are 23 participants that have completed the program and are still working with the team. So here are some of their positive outcomes.
All right, food security in this group has increased by 1/3. Their employment capacity, the number of hours they work, is up 50%. This one's really good. On average, their incomes have more than doubled. And that's not all. They also have more access to mental health care, support services, more stable employment.
Now here is our favorite statistic right here. 100% of the funding for Together We Grow comes from donors like you.
But you don't even have to take just our word for it. We want to introduce you to La Freya. La Freya says she was used to bad things happening all at once.
Yeah, La Freya actually started the program once before, walking to the food bank for classes, and then she had a big medical issue and unfortunately had to drop out.
But she didn't give up. She came back for the next round of the cohort because she had goals.
Now, some of those goals, she wanted to get her high school diploma, a new apartment for her and her 3 children, a car, and get a job after being on disability for 5 years. A lot she wanted to accomplish.
And y'all, she did it.
Yeah.
She did it. The nonprofit On-Ramp provided her with a vehicle, which she said just absolutely changed the game. She moved into a 4-bedroom home, which she says her children absolutely love. And she made good money working for the census for a little while. Now she's updated her resume with that, and she's working with the Together We Grow staff to find permanent employment.
Yeah, La Freya says no one ever told her, "I've got your back," until she started working with Together We Grow.
And now she has a message for you, for the potential donor for Together We Grow. La Freya says the smallest generosity means so much to people who have nothing.
So thanks for listening to us and to La Freya's story, Brazos Valley. I'm Josh Ninke.
And I'm Kathleen Ninke. We appreciate your time and your generosity.
The Together We Grow program is complex, but so important. Thank you to Kathleen and Josh for breaking it all down for us. If the Brazos Valley is to really become hunger-free, programs like Together We Grow need our support now. The program is labor intensive, so the major costs are associated with the credentialed professional staff that run the program, as well as the stipend and savings match provided for the participants. Did you know that a $500 donation covers the weekly stipend a participant gets for the 5-week counseling coaching session? And that a $600 donation helps the Brazos Valley Food Bank match a now employed TWG participant's savings deposit? So let's talk about our next issue. That's getting the food where it's needed the most. The solution is the flexibility of the Brazos Valley Food Bank staff and its logistics. The talk is sponsored by Non-Ferrous Extrusions. So let me introduce our next speaker. Brigadier General Joe Ramirez is a graduate of Texas A&M, where he was a member of the Texas Aggie Band. He received his commission in the United States Army Field Artillery from Texas A&M in 1979 as a distinguished military graduate. During his 31 years of military service, General Ramirez commanded soldiers around the world and served in leadership positions in various joint and operational commands.
Howdy, my name is Brigadier General Joe Ramirez, and I'm the Commandant of Cadets at Texas A&M University. As all of you know, COVID-19 hit us in March and is still with us and has caused a lot of harm to a lot of citizens across the Brazos Valley, across the state of Texas, across the United States, and across the world. It truly is a global pandemic that has affected all of us in some form or fashion. The Brazos Valley Food Bank is no different. Now, they've had to implement measures to ensure that their staff and the people they service are safe every single day. So no matter what, they could still continue to provide the services they provide to the citizens of the Brazos Valley in a safe and effective manner, and still continue to do the job that they strive to do every single day, which is ensure that the citizens of the Brazos Valley are fed and get nutritious meals on a daily basis. So everything from masks to hand sanitizers to social distancing have all been in place across the food bank to ensure that those that they service can feel safe, that they're getting a safe and nutritious meal from the Brazos Valley Food Bank. All of that's very, very important to all of us, and we hope that you understand that when you donate to the Brazos Valley Food Bank, you're not just donating for meals for our citizens, but also you're donating to a safe and healthy environment for those that work there and those that they serve. Now, one of the things that is significant about COVID-19 and its impact across the Brazos Valley is the fact that despite everything that has occurred, the Brazos Valley Food Bank continues to serve our citizens. They're in it for the long haul. This has not affected them in any form or fashion. They drive on and they fully understand that demand has increased across the Brazos Valley ever since COVID-19 has hit. COVID-19 has affected us in many ways, not just from a health perspective, but also from an economic perspective. Many citizens now have no jobs. They've lost their jobs, they've lost their ability to bring in income, some have lost their homes, some have lost family members. It's impacted us in a variety of ways, and organizations like the Brazos Valley Food Bank are still there doing the job they need to do to ensure that they are caring for those citizens who need them the most. Some of the examples of what they've done just since March, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, they've provided emergency food boxes for children. When many of the programs that fed children that needed to be fed in school were cut back because of the economy being affected by COVID-19, the Brazos Valley Food Bank stepped up and provided emergency food boxes so that children could ensure they were getting good meals at school. They provided food bundles for the partner food banks throughout the area to ensure that they could continue to provide food for the citizens in their areas. They provided backpacks for the backpack program to ensure that our students in their schools were getting backpacks with food throughout every independent school district in the Brazos Valley. They also distributed nearly 200,000 pounds of food for families in need during 7 super distribution days between March and June. How huge is that? 200,000 pounds of food distributed to families in need at a critical time in our country's history. That's what the Brazos Valley Food Bank is all about. They also have looked after those who have tested positive and have to be in quarantine, providing what we call Q kits to those who are in quarantine and are low income and need food. Despite all of the challenges that COVID-19 has thrown at the Brazos Valley Food Bank, they're still there for those in need. Overall, between March and June 2020, over 1.5 million meals were provided to citizens of the Brazos Valley by the Brazos Valley Food Bank. Let me say that again. 1.5 million meals were provided to citizens of the Brazos Valley by the Brazos Valley Food Bank. Since July of 2019, a year ago, the Brazos Valley Food Bank has received 13% less donations and 22% less USDA provided food to the food bank. That hurts the Brazos Valley Food Bank and their ability to provide those meals to the citizens in true need across the Brazos Valley. 56% more of the food that the BVFB provided to citizens in the Brazos Valley had to be bought by the Brazos Valley Food Bank. That's money that they've got to go out and buy food with to ensure that the citizens that need food can be fed. Keep in mind that this is not an organization that is blessed with a wealth of income. It's a nonprofit organization. It relies heavily on donations. And what I am here today to do is to ask you to help support our food bank, and it's our food bank, help our citizens in the Brazos Valley who are most in need. When you think about the fact that we live in the richest country in the world with immeasurable resources available to us every single day, we produce more food than we could consume in a given year. And yet every day millions of Americans go hungry. And every day literally thousands of Americans go hungry here in the Brazos Valley. And the Brazos Valley Food Bank exists to ensure that no citizen of our Brazos Valley goes hungry. So I'm asking you today to help donate. Help the Brazos Valley Food Bank continue to do what they do every day for our citizens that are in need. Help them do the job they must do to ensure that nobody goes hungry on a given day. I'm asking you to support the Brazos Valley Food Bank today with your donations. Think about those citizens that are affected every single day with hunger and poverty, and the Brazos Valley Food Bank helps reduce that for many, many families across the Brazos Valley. Thank you so much for your support. God bless all of you. God bless the great state of Texas. God bless America, and let's beat the hell out of COVID-19. Thank you.
General Ramirez really got it right when he said COVID has changed everything. Just like all of us, the Brazos Valley Food Bank has had to change everything it does to maintain normal levels of service. That's meant modifying existing services and adding on new services. Safety's been the main priority, though. Food prices have really increased as well. Having to purchase so much more food than before really does mean that the Brazos Valley Food Bank needs your donation now more than ever. Do you know that $1 can secure 5 pounds of food from most of the Brazos Valley Food Bank sources? Please donate now. All donation amounts are welcome, and they're all very helpful. From your smartphone or from another window on your computer, you can visit bvfb.org/M4M. Scroll down to the program you want to support, click on the name of the speaker, and the most important part is to click the donate button. So that's our last speaker and the end of the 3rd annual Mingle for Meals benefiting the Brazos Valley Food Bank. We hope that you are inspired to give to the talk or the program that touched your heart the most. From backpacks to senior bags to school and mobile pantries, or those programs that are tackling hunger in new ways, like benefits assistance, Screen and Intervene, or Together We Grow. Your support through the COVID pandemic has been phenomenal. Unfortunately, COVID cases have not gone away yet. The Brazos Valley Food Bank will continue to need your additional support until the pandemic has ended. The Mingle for Meals website will be up for a while. For those on the fence about donating, visit the site and rewatch individual talks. Inspiration could come from another watch, and tell your friends about these talks. Others can still give, and we really hope that they do. And text to donate will be in effect until November 17th. So again, another easy way to support the good work of the good folks at the Brazos Valley Food Bank. Thank you for watching. Have a great afternoon.